Hello everybody, welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us for our dearly departed preview for round 32. And we could lose Sheffield United this week, couldn't we? Mathematical possibility now that the Blades could go down this week. Couple of easy fixtures for Leeds and Villa playing Liverpool and Manchester City. West Brom, who are in form, they might be able to capitalise on Leicester playing in the FA Cup before this league game, which has been put back to Tuesday. So, interesting round of fixtures. Who are the dearly departed? They are, of course, the teams that I covered here in the Championship on the channel that were clever enough to get themselves up into the division. We are talking about Sheffield United, Villa, Leeds, West Brom and Fulham. Each and every week we do cover those teams pre and post games. So if you support one of those teams, hit subscribe, ring the bell, because if they're staying in the Premier League, we'll be doing this next season. If they go down, welcome to the Championship as well. So plenty worth subscribing on the channel. And a big thank you to Coyle, who is our fan sponsor for this show, dearly departed, also known as Ben. Couldn't bear to lose us. Thank you, Jay. Got involved over on Patreon. You can do the same. Patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Right, let's stop with the plugs and get to the football, which is why you're here, I hope. There are our fixtures for round 32. As ever, bluebells on the dearly departed game. And you can see we're kind of backloaded. Long weekend of football as well, isn't it, with the FA Cup games. We're actually starting tonight, aren't we? No, tomorrow night, excuse me. The 16th is Everton Spurs. Then, big game for the dearly departed, because if Newcastle beat West Ham, and we'll talk about this more in terms of Sheffield United. Obviously, West Ham are very good. We know that. If Newcastle beat West Ham, Sheffield United lose. I think this is the way it's going to shake out to Wolves. They're down. We'll talk about that more and the permutations when we get to that. Southampton Palace. There is the Wolves-Sheffield United game, which will be on Saturday night at 8:15. Arsenal-Fulham is then the first game on Sunday. Manchester United-Burnley. Leeds versus Liverpool. Brilliant. On Monday night. Then, is that Monday night still? I'm losing track. It is, isn't it? Then Chelsea versus Brighton. Aston Villa Man City is going to be on Wednesday. And Leicester West Brom is going to be on Thursday. I think I might have said Tuesday at the start of the video. But massively stretched out weekend here. So goodness knows how we're going to keep up with the reviewing and whatnot. Because by the time all of that stuff is done, we'll be in preview in the next weekend. So obviously, Champions League means Manchester City probably go later with their FA Cup tie, and then everything gets put back accordingly. And of course, Leicester are going to play Southampton in the Cup and then get involved with West Brom later in the week. Let's go through game by game anyway, rather than trying to behave like the fixture computer. We're going to go from the top downwards. And our first game is Leeds United versus Liverpool. And Leeds are our top dearly departed team now. Moved past Villa over the last round, didn't they, with the win at Manchester City. Villa losing at Liverpool. We're going to swap around this. Very strange with Liverpool and Man City the past few seasons, where teams seem to play them in a row and then swap around. There must be some kind of seeding algorithm thing that goes into the random fixture computer. And Leeds, off the back of the result of the season, really, for them. I know there's been a good few weekends for Leeds. You can look at that, the first win, obviously, they got against Fulham, the 1-1 draw against Man City, where they look like a viable Premier League team, that the away win against Leicester, the away win against Villa. But, come on, Man City with 10 men away, last-minute winner. It's got to go down as the best one, particularly from a narrative point of view. Remember back to the first weekend of the new season, and it was Liverpool versus Leeds, and it was 4-3, and it was crazy, open. Some people got their first look at Bielsa ball, and Leeds lost 4-3. And I did say at the time it wasn't as tight as the scoreline said. Liverpool did create a hell of a lot of chances, but Leeds have certainly worked their way into the Premier League season since then to become such a viable Premier League team that they are now in the top half, 45 points from 31 games. And look at that recent run of form. 3 wins in the trot, 10 points from 4. Now, I did say expect a bit of a trend up towards the end of the season from Leeds. Obviously, with the caveat, and a lot of Leeds fans pointed this out to me, of the 3 hard games. Manchester City first. Here comes Liverpool, which is the second. I think, is it Manchester United next? Someone will check me in the comments on that. But Leeds fans were very much, okay, calm down, Ben, calm down. Obviously, I wasn't predicting any kind of mad Manchester City win, so I was expecting the little peak up maybe to come over those last sort of 3 or 4 games of the season, but it's happened already with 4 points in 10. So can Leeds ride out that form against Liverpool? Now, Liverpool also have won 3 games on the trot. So you can see there, look down in the bottom in the centre, Leeds with wins over Fulham and Sheffield United. Well, they're down at the bottom of the table. Manchester City couldn't be any higher. They're at the top of the table. Liverpool with wins over Wolves, Arsenal and Villa. So Liverpool taking out a few more middle ranking teams there. Both sides in good form. Liverpool are not the Liverpool that they were. You know, they're pretty much who just basically won 3 out of every 4 games for about 2 seasons, didn't they? Liverpool, when getting so close to Manchester City and then eventually winning the league last season. It's not the same team there where nobody felt like they had any hope playing Liverpool. Plenty of teams have beaten Liverpool this season. However, it does feel that recently a little bit of a sort of click back into some kind of form. So I don't know, if you're a Leeds fan, maybe you would have been thinking, honestly, would have preferred to play them 6 weeks ago or what have you. However, Bielsa being Bielsa won't care who he plays when he plays them, because we know exactly what he's going to do. Team-wise, this will be interesting because Cooper was red-carded. I'm assuming he got a 3-match ban for that one. Someone will check me on that. Whatever happens, he'll definitely be suspended for this one. So you could get a centre-half partnership of Koch and Llorente or Stroke and Llorente. Be very, very interesting because, and Liam Cooper obviously is the Leeds captain and has done a great job in getting them up. However, they are 2 of the new signings in this season for Leeds, Koch and Llorente. I'd be very interested to see them go out as a pair against Liverpool. Maybe a sign of things to come. Who knows? I'm sure Bielsa will be loyal to Cooper in the long term, however. Just might be an interesting watch. Otherwise, I can't really see what Leeds are going to change. Obviously, Jack Harrison couldn't play against Manchester City because he's loaned out from Manchester City. But, I don't know, maybe Costa will stay in. Rodrigo is there on the bench, but you're not going to take Stuart Dallas out at the moment, are you? And Tyler Roberts has been effective in this run. Obviously, injuries permitting to all of these guys. So, perhaps Stroke or Koch in for Cooper. And in the words of Liam Gallagher, as you were. Or, what's the guy in Line of Duty? As you were. What's the Northern Irish guy in Line of Duty? I can't remember his name. Hastings. D.I. Hastings or whatever his it might even be higher up than that. Anyway, Liverpool without Mane last time out and obviously weak at centre half. Bit of a sense that the fullbacks looked a bit more back at it in the last game. It was Robertson's shot that was parried for Salah to head the ball in for the first goal, and Trent himself cut in and scored the second goal. That should worry. You only worry if you're playing Liverpool. If the fullbacks play well and the front three play well, it's a hard old slog because there's a lot of star power across 5 positions there, which is basically just about just under half of your team, isn't it? I still think Leeds can get something from this, and we know they'll just go at it, and we know they'll make chances, and we know that. Look at the Liverpool centre-back partnership, Phillips and Kabak. Yes, they've gone in there and done manfully. Obviously, as soon as Van Dijk's back, that looks very different. But he's been out for a long, long time now. So you think Leeds can definitely get on the score sheet here? It's the other end. It's how do Liverpool attack? And this works both ways, by the way, catching the opponent on transition. Obviously, Leeds are a very committed attacking team, and it's just fullbacks that way. But again, it works both ways with Ayling and Alioski going the other way. Let's go for a draw because I think Leeds are in a good moment. I think the squad looks fitter than ever. I think they've got the affirmation of being in the top half. They know they're staying in the league as well, which obviously would have been a big task. And maybe they can be a little bit relaxed over these remaining games. I'm not saying on the beach or anything, but I don't know. I just feel they can play with a confidence now. With that signature win, I know they've beaten Leicester as well, but to go and beat Man City within a top 10 potentially finishing season, I don't know. I think they'll have had a lot of things affirmed, especially players like Ayling, Cooper, Alioski, Dallas, not Phillips so much because he was always going to be a star, or Bamford. But those players that we'd all pegged as, okay, Leeds might get promoted, but those guys will be moved on. I don't know. I think a lot of them will now be feeling within themselves that they're Premier League players, especially Stuart Dallas. Ballon d'Or nominee Stuart Dallas. Let's go for a draw. Always an optimistic draw when you go in, or an optimistic prediction when you're going against Liverpool, Manchester City, Manchester United, Chelsea, etc. And you do have to remember where Leeds have come from. 16 years outside of the top level. But it's what it is now with Bielsa. This is where the expectations are. And you've got to love it, haven't you? So let's go for a draw and assume that it's going to be a scoring draw as well between Klopp and Bielsa. Get your predictions and your comments down there on Leeds versus Liverpool. Moving on, and again, I jest, Aston Villa versus Manchester City. A nice, easy one again. Now, let's talk about Manchester City and the quadruple. Now, I can't remember who they play in the FA Cup. I don't have my other laptop right there. I can't quickly blag this and look it up. And my phone's down there as well. So Manchester City, I'm recording this on Thursday morning. They played in Dortmund last night. Brilliant. They got the win. So they go on in the Champions League. They're in the League Cup. Is it the League Cup this week? No, it's not, is it? I don't know. It must be FA Cup, mustn't it? I can't think. Too many competitions for me to concentrate on. Anyway, what we do know is this game is shifted right out. I think it's Wednesday, isn't it? And then West Brom is Thursday against Leicester. I think I've got that right. Anyway, it's shifted, and there was a bit of a sense, let's just pick up that Manchester City team last time, without Foden and De Bruyne in there, was a bit of a sense that Pep is going, okay, I've won the league. Pre this Champions League game, I'm going to give my two, key creative players, and De Bruyne, the best player, a rest. So you would think they may get a rest after. So what I'm saying is a lot of this could depend on Manchester City and bouncing about between competitions. And with our dearly departed hat on, and for our Villa supporting friends, can Villa capitalise on City playing in so many different competitions and A, being tired, or B, Pep going, look, we're miles clear. What's the difference now? 11 points clear with a game in hand and 6 to play. You know, Pep going, basically, we've won the league, and if we do drop a point in a couple of games, stick them all back in and get a couple more wins, and off we go and title confirmed. So it's an interesting balancing act, which Villa will hope that they can capitalise on. Remember the return game? It was that strange loophole thing where City got a very lucky goal, didn't they? Where I think Mings was trying to chest the ball down. I can't remember who came from behind him. Was it Bernardo Silva or was it Ferran Torres? I can't remember. And didn't get given offside, which was a ludicrous decision, and they tightened up the wording a day later. So, close game there. However, Villa are slipping a little bit now, aren't they? Look at those last 6 down in the centre. Not many points, not many goals. I mean, I say not many points. 5 points in the last 6. So, basically, where would that get you across the season? You would be relegated across the season with a 5 points in 6 type season trotted out, and Newcastle on over a point per game there. Obviously, there's defeats to Liverpool and Spurs, one against Sheffield United in there as well. I just want to draw your attention towards the lack of goals, though. Look, shut out against Blades, shut out against Wolves, 1 against Newcastle. Should have won that game, shouldn't they? Shut out against Spurs, 3 against Fulham in a collapse, and then 1 against Liverpool. Saying a collapse for Fulham at the end of that game. We did it on the watch along, didn't we? And the elephant in the room is Grealish, and don't expect him to be back. We were told another couple of 3 weeks. It's one of those now that rumbles and rumbles and rumbles, and then all of the chitter chatter about what may be happening in the background grows and grows, doesn't it? Nakamba came in, take a look on the left there, last game into central midfield. Obviously, Trezeguet had to start after coming on and scoring 2. I think he got badly hurt in the last game, though. So, if I'm right about that, it's going to be interesting to see what the front 3 is for Villa. And can Barkley ever get back into this? Obviously, El Ghazi would be an obvious one, wouldn't he? So, yeah, feels like Villa are going to have to sort of cobble things together when... Look, okay, I do accept the back 5 is solid as a rock there in terms of selection. Martinez, Cash, Konza, Mings, Target. Louise and McGinn will play. Maybe he gives Nakamba another go. But it feels very different to that 4-2-3-1 earlier in the season. McGinn and Louise. And then you had Barkley and Grealish and whoever, Trezeguet, Traore, El Ghazi and Watkins. Feels like toothless compared to that, because obviously I think Grealish made Barkley better and Barkley made Grealish better. Obviously Grealish was already very good in the first place, but yeah, it just feels like he's having to cobble something together that he wouldn't necessarily consider his best options there, Dean Smith. So, tricky one to call. I think Manchester City are going to get the win. I think Villa's issues in terms of not being able to go with their first choice strategy and possible extra injuries coming in now outweigh Manchester City playing tons of games in tons of competitions, and possibly you might not face De Bruyne, you might not face Foden. I still think they're going to have enough, which is problematic. And Villa, who have been excellent all season, especially compared to last season and compared to expectations, just be annoying if they do, look at them there in 11th now, drop out of that top half in the remaining games. So do well to finish below 11th with a game in hand on Wolves and a 6-point lead, but don't think they're going to be adding to the points total this week. But then again, I got my last Manchester City prediction wrong against Leeds, didn't I? So, ho-hum, you let me know what you think down there in the comments. Aston Villa versus champions-elect Manchester City. Moving on, Arsenal versus Fulham. Oh, Fulham. It was one of those, wasn't it, this past week where you had Fulham losing late onto Wolves and then Newcastle getting a really good win at Burnley, and it kind of felt very decisive this week. Obviously, things can still change, and I know Newcastle have a difficult round of games, but hey, look, every game looks difficult when you're down at the bottom because literally, statistically, everybody's better than you, aren't they? Other than, one or two teams for these two. However, go straight to the table now. Fulham 6 points adrift of Newcastle. 6 games to go for Fulham. 7 games to go for Newcastle. I don't know. It feels like they're in pretty different places now, doesn't it? Especially, look, Newcastle have only lost 1 in the last 5. And when you're looking at that points per game tally, and it's 6 from 5 for Newcastle and 3 from 5 for Fulham, it's just trended in opposite directions, hasn't it? And we had it all on that last game of the season, Fulham versus Newcastle, but can they get back up, and bridge the gap? They're going to have to do it against Arsenal, who are up there in 9th, beat Sheffield United of the dearly departed. The only defeat for Arsenal in the last 6 was at home to Liverpool. The one that Gary Neville afterwards said that he found very concerning, given players appearing to not be following instructions and kind of making it quite easy for Liverpool on the ball, particularly the top-end press from Arsenal wasn't quite there. However, Gary Neville, a very astute man and a brilliant pundit, the points tally is good if that is happening. Very good if that is happening. 3, 6, 9, 11 in 6 is decent enough. Which is very good actually, isn't it? 11 in 6. If they keep doing that, nearly 2 points per game. Give them 11 from the next 6. They're up to 56 points. High 50s towards the end of the season. Might go up a position or maybe 2, depending on what happens ahead of them. So, it could be worse for Arsenal. There is that front 4 that they're worried about. Saka injured in the last game. Pepe, Martinelli in there. No Aubameyang as well. Partey, brilliant assist in that game against Sheffield United from the central midfield. So that's the state of play for Arsenal. Fulham, they've just hit the buffers at totally the wrong time. Positioned themselves so well after that win against Fulham. Against Liverpool, They are Fulham, down there. But just keep looking at these last 2 games and that collapse against Villa when Mitrovic scored, they were out of the bottom 3. So frustrating for Fulham fans, and now it's 4 defeats on the bounce. Can they get something from this one? Possibly. They don't score more than a goal in any of their games, do they? So it all depends on defensive work, doesn't it? All of those last games, either a 0 or a 1. They could get a draw, I think. I don't see them winning this game, I have to say. And I think we may be in a position where they might be mentally shot now, where, to use like a boxer analogy or whatever, they'd really been punching and they might feel like they'd given their best shot and their opponent just isn't wounded. They haven't taken him down enough. Talking about Newcastle. Now Newcastle have dragged Burnley back into it with that result last time and Brighton just above. But I don't know. Sorry, Fulham fans. I'm going to go for an Arsenal win in this one, which doesn't bode well for Fulham still being near it by that last game of the season. Would love to be proven wrong, but I'll go for Arsenal. Let me know what you think in the comments down there. Arsenal versus Fulham. Leicester, West Brom. So again, I'm fudging my dates all right royally over this. In fact, should we just do, if I click through a few slides, Apologies here. There we go. So now we'll see it properly. So Thursday night with Villa on Wednesday. So a long rest for West Brom. Accentuate the positive. Leicester, I can't remember who they're playing in the Cup. Southampton? Palace? I can't think. Anyway, the game's not going to be until Thursday. And we are talking about in form West Brom with back-to-back wins, 8 goals in the last 2, playing possibly out of form Leicester with 2 straight defeats. We'll see what they do in the Cup. And of course, that story that Brendan Rodgers would have not wanted to get of maybe some COVID restrictions being ignored by some of his players. And, you don't want that sort of stuff. But, they're high quality players at Leicester nowadays, aren't they? So I'm sure they can come back in once they've served their punishment, so to speak. But hey, it's something that you can cling on to. Were you a West Brom fan? And West Brom, terrific, particularly in the last 2 games with those 2 wins. We'd said about West Brom, and I do say it somewhat facetiously, talk to me in 3 wins' time. They're doing it, aren't they? It's still going to be miraculous if they can get anywhere near, but it's 12 points in 8 games for West Brom, which is a terrific return. Now they've got some wins coming in there. I think I've got that number right. If you do extrapolate that out, they're still not going to make a point per game, which is the worry. To make a point per game, which would be 38 by 7 games' time, they would need 14 points in the last 7, i.e. 2 points per game. Double a point per game and double what others are doing. And that still depends on 3 teams there on 32, 33 and 33, basically only having 1 more win and a load of defeats over their last 7 games. So it's still very unlikely for West Brom. But, Big Sam, he's going to keep those points landing on the board so he can say, look at the points while I was here. If I'd been here all season, West Brom would have stayed up. That's going to be a big motivation to Big Sam. And then we'll see. Does he fancy a season in the Championship? I'm sure he'd have a lovely old time down in the Championship with West Brom and a parachute payment and some of those players. Leicester, well, FA Cup, as I said, COVID issues. Got Iain in absolutely brilliant form. I don't know what his goals for games is recently. It feels like he must have got 10 in his last 11 or 12 games or something. He seems to have just been scoring every time I've been paying attention to Leicester. So, tricky. I do think West Brom could get something if, and I'm talking about maybe a 0-0 or a very low scoring draw, if Leicester are kind of distracted by FA Cup and, off-field matters. Pereira and Robinson on absolute fire for West Brom as well. Look, a goal for both of them in the last game, again against Southampton. And that was after they'd both scored 2 against Chelsea. And I think there's assists in there for each other. So they've got some goal threat now, haven't they? And they've got some points on the table. I will optimistically say a low-scoring draw in this one, that West Brom can get something. And then, look, if he wins his next game, Big Sam, I haven't got the fixtures ahead of me, then another 4 points. Then we are trending towards that 2 points per game for the last 7 games. Good luck to him. I think it may be too little too late, but certainly a trend up for West Brom. And so I'll go for a low-scoring draw in this one. Let me know what you think. Leicester versus West Bromwich Albion. And finally, it's Wolves versus Sheffield United. So, been struggling with getting things right in this show, haven't I? So wish me luck. Right, Sheffield United have 14 points on the board. They have 31 games played, so they have 7 remaining. And the gap is 18 points. Therefore, if Sheffield United lose, they would be 18 points behind Newcastle with 6 to play. Therefore, Newcastle would need a point against West Ham and a Sheffield United defeat, and Sheffield United would be down. It's one of those situations where you can use the term, if Newcastle better Sheffield United's result, i.e. win against a draw against a defeat, then the Blades are down. And I don't know, it might be a weight lifted off their shoulders after a horrible, horrible season. The latest defeat was against Arsenal, defeat number 25 of the season. And you can see 4 defeats in a row there. 2-0 Southampton, 5-0 Leicester. That was the game after Wilder went. 2-1 Leeds, and then 3-0 Arsenal. So, I mean, you do the maths. In those 4 games, conceded 12 and scored 1. Lost every single one of them. It's not looking good, is it? And you just think, get the season done, get the season finished, don't take any hide-ins, and away you go. John Egan returned in the last game. That is good news. Still no Basham and no O'Connell. The fabled 3 at the back, I always call them. They'd barely been off the pitch for the previous couple of seasons, and they'd barely been on it, certainly together. In fact, I bet it's only once all season. Would be that first game where, didn't Jack O'Connell get injured in the first game? And then that's it. They just haven't got them on the pitch, have they? Wolves had a great win. And you can see the form before that had not been good. 2 points in 5. But a very, very key goal by Adama Traore at the key point right at the end of the game against the key rival, Fulham. That team in 18th. Got championship on my brain. That team in 18th is the one you just don't want to be moving anywhere. And with that goal, I mean, swing it the other way. Take 3 points off Wolves, put them on 35. Add 3 on to Fulham, put them on 29. And everything looks so different. And Wolves, just with that goal and Traore, keeping Fulham at arm's length for everybody else. So Wolves had a really key win. And I suspect against the Blades here, they're probably going to get another one, which would move them. They've got the point per game. They've got the 38. It would move them above 40. I know people sometimes... I think the rule of thumb of 40 was quite old-fashioned, and I think with people studying things the way that it's more like 35, isn't it? That's the average survival rate. Obviously, you get low-tide seasons and high-tide seasons, but the point per game, I think, is the key one which Wolves have reached, and they would go above 40, which you'd think, well, you know, get on the beach, all done, and I think they're going to get another win here against Sheffield United. Let me know if you think different. Let me know what you think in the comments with whatever you think on this one. Wolves versus Sheffield United. That's our show. Thanks again to Jay, who is our fan sponsor. Dearly departed, also known as Ben. Couldn't bear to lose. Absolutely not. I could not bear to lose you. And if you've picked up the channel this season and your team is in relegation difficulties, remember, the channel is championship based, so we will be there with you next season. All of these 5 teams, whatever you're doing, we'll be covering it. So hit that subscribe button, and maybe like Jay, you can get involved over on Patreon as well and really support my work. Made a real push this pandemic, basically, to try and be able to do this full-time. Videos every day, and we're just getting there now. 15,000 subscribers on YouTube is fantastic growth for us. So please make sure you hit subscribe, ring the bell. But the most important thing here about this platform is that you have your say in the comments. Keep it polite, keep it civil. We try and make this a nice place to talk. Let's try and work on improving social media. We do our little bit over here on my little channel. Wouldn't it be a lovely... wouldn't it be a better place on social media if... people were not hiding behind anonymity and being horrible to everybody all day long, which unfortunately happens. So do get involved in the comments. I'm not saying don't, but let's try and wave the flag for proper civil debate over here. Thank you, everybody. That was the preview for round 32, and given things are so stretched out, I've got no idea how I'm going to deal with the review. It'll be up at some point. Maybe we'll have to go. Where's my fixtures again? There they are. Maybe we'll have to go after Liverpool and Leeds, or, I don't know, do a couple of individual reviews. But yeah, it feels like the games are going to be quite old by the time we get around to the Thursday. So leave that with me. But needless to say, we will be back with another Dearly Departed show at a time not yet known to me. We'll figure it out. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And it's a big over and out from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.